how when I did Jugnu, after that it was very tough for people to perceive me as an actor, or even for me to get films after that. In all honesty, we were not given a fair chance. We were not given theaters, and whatever we didn't get the prime time shows. It was very tough for me to transition into an actor from a dancer.
Correct.
But I've changed the perception little bit through this film, and each day on set while I was filming, to be honest, I was contemplating and I was asking those questions, whether this is something that that I should be doing. Hi, this is Akanksha Sharma, and you're watching me on India Forums.
Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another update from India Forums.
Hi everyone, this is Kunal Kothari and you're watching me on India Forums, and right now the rage is real because whenever you get a film that's come out there or उसकी इतनी सारी चर्चा होती है अच्छी बुरी हर तरह की, but वो चर्चा होती रहती है लेकिन sometimes it is about one person, sometimes it's about everyone. But right now, the person I'm sitting with, it has been about one person and for the right reasons also. So, of course, please welcome none other than Akanksha Sharma. Hi.
Thank you, that was so sweet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's as I mentioned, right? Because a film is obviously talked about right reasons, wrong reasons, har tarah se. But it has been a good run, like a good run in a way for you personally, I believe.
Right.
How have you adapted to everything so far?
I'm not gonna run away from the fact that we've not, done as well as we wanted to, and I'll talk about that later. But apart from all of that, I feel like it's a dream start for me personally. Like you said, I feel like my dreams are coming true. I manifested this, so I'm only looking at the positives.
Lovely. Yeah. No, true. And it's great that you are being self-aware. You are aware, what went down with the film earlier, later, now everything. But I think the ones who see, and I like, I like I like the fact that you'll be honest about it. Because it's important to address things, and it's not for the sensationalism or negativity. It's just important to address because sometimes a director has a vision, and that's why he's executed it for something. It might be misconstrued. That's a different story. So on those lines, because I think the recurring criticism that the film had in your character wasn't when it comes to the lovely portrayal and the the good reveal and everything, without spoiling much right now, was that despite the fact that it was set in a certain time, you're obviously talking about centuries ago and everything. I think the recurring problem was that लोग बोल रहे थे कि यार इसके बाल highlighted कैसे हो सकते हैं, इसके इतने blow dried बाल कैसे हो सकते हैं, because you're talking about a time which is obviously like ancient, medieval and everything.
Right.
So do you believe that to be a very fair bit of criticism, and do you believe that was, or it was one of those things that you suspend your disbelief and you try to be invested in the story as opposed to these things?
Well, it was all of that was done to beautify each frame, and I feel like it did add to the drama of it. Like whenever I had so many action sequences and me with like the hair flying, so it was mainly, even if you see each frame, then that way we had so many things to just beautify that particular frame, right? So in that sense, a film is, yes, we have to stick to the realism, but we also try and make it look nicer. So I feel like in those action sequences, me with the hair flying, I feel like it kind of added beauty to the whole shot. And
and that's perfect segue to the fact that she's done some fantastic action sequences here. I think that also deserves applause, because whenever एक तो वैसे भी कम होता है female actors doing some really great action sequences, ये बहुत कम होता है. So my question to you is, of course, I believe you trained as well a lot. You did archery and you did all those things. And उसका process कितना अलग होता होगा ना, because you have to maintain your conventional looks, which is very natural to you anyway. But at the same time, वो raw, warm, everything you have to keep it raw only. So how did that work out for you?
So for me personally, this is my first time doing action, and I had not really trained so much before this.
Yeah.
But my main agenda was to go a little bit closer to my character, and whenever I used to pick that bow and arrow, it was never about the action, but the emotion that was attached to it, and it kind of brought me a little bit closer to my character. Imagine in those times with those exaggerated costumes,
Yeah.
and having to run with those weapons and shoot those arrows while running, and I mean all of that was so in a way I was trying to understand what she must have been like. So
Right.
my action was never uh, about trying to show the perfect kicks or like jumps, but it was always about getting a little bit closer to her.
Fantastic. And was there anything that stayed with you during that training process? Because kabhi kabhi hota hai that you are training for something, you're not obviously equipped at it naturally. Right? You
Correct.
just try to adapt to the way they're trying to teach you and everything. But that stays with you. A sort of belief or a sort of, a particular move or something particular, you probably do it better than something else. That stays with you. So any of those things that stayed with you?
Honestly, each time I did anything, it kind of changed me as a person each time I did action on that set, because uh, I was never confident about doing action, and every uh, like I had to run on top of a hill in a forest with stones, and I didn't even realize that I was about to fall or I was injured. But there was some sort of satisfaction after every injury, after every fall. So I feel like every day on set was another. I don't know. I just got really satisfied after.
Yeah, I think it's a
shooting.
high, no?
Yeah, it's a high
It's
for
a
sure.
high.
So yeah, and after that, I became really confident. The confidence that I was missing in myself, whether I could pull this off. But I feel like after shooting this character, it kind of also brought me closer to myself. I realized so many things about myself that I didn't know before, and I also got a little bit more confident.
Lovely. That looks very nice. Coming on to this factor, Akanksha, as I was saying that, I find fascinating about you is that despite the factor, okay, film choices are now, popping up for you. You had a couple of releases already, different languages. There's another one already in the works, which is great. I think it's a great time for you as well. But as I mentioned, that your presence on social media is something else, in the best way possible. Because I think a lot of एक भी होता है ना कि लोग नोटिस भी ज्यादा उसकी वजह से करते हैं.
Correct.
For the right reasons, again. Sometimes it's for the wrong reasons for other people. In your case, it's been great. But do you believe that in a way that a lot of people perceive you because of that presence? Because as I mentioned that sometimes it overpowers. It overpowers what you bring as acting chops to the table.
Correct.
And you look conventionally beautiful. So that sometimes takes over a lot more than this. So what's your take on that?
I do agree that it kind of overpowers things, but like how when I did Jugnu after that, it was very tough for people to perceive me as an actor, or even for me to get films after that, because everybody thought I'm a dancer and nobody, thought of me in that light. But I also feel that social media, if used right, and if not overused, I feel like it can only add to the whole thing, and it can benefit you in the best possible way. Like I'm very antisocial, and it's very tough for me to actually, you would not believe it, but it's very tough for me to be or like regular on my social media.
Right.
And which is why I've only been present during my promotions, and before that, if you see, I've been very off. When I post, it's obviously the glamour question
Exactly.
comes in. But having said that, as my career progresses, I'm hoping that people would not keep that as a
As the only
parameter about me, and that I think is in my hands, and I hope that I'm able to change that.
Fair. No, you're absolutely correct. And again, that's a perfect segue in what I have a theory. Okay, I have a theory when it comes to actors who look, as I mentioned, conventionally beautiful and repeat that. I'll tell you why. Because all these indie films that people keep raving about, now choti choti films, sometimes they have these festival runs and they are loved so much. And if it's a very rooted story, you have female actors and male actors looking a certain way, but they fit the part because you're talking about a small town story or whatever it is, right? तो उनके बारे में ना फिर ये होता है कि यार वो तो फिर stereotype हो जाते हैं, which is not incorrect. होते हैं, they also get very stereotype कि फिर उसी तरह के small town किरदार उनके पास आते रहते हैं. But I have a reverse theory with good actors like you as well, because you look conventionally beautiful, because you have a certain way that you present yourself, you also somehow get stereotyped कि यार ये small town में ये नहीं fit
ये
होगी.
नहीं fit होगी, correct.
Do you believe that is the case, and how often has it happened to you, even though you're early?
No, 100% it has happened to me. Like I told you, it was very tough for me to transition into an actor from a dancer.
Yeah.
That in itself took time, but also I'll tell you something. I come from a small town myself, and it's what you show the world. And if today I'm able to bring out that Indian side of me through this film, which also earlier people could not um, uh, uh, perceive of me, you know, I was just this glamorous girl.
Correct.
But I've changed the perception little bit through this film, and I hope that I'm able to do justice to you know, those small town characters, and that will only happen once I'm able to showcase myself in that light.
Yeah.
So I'm that is going to be on me. I am going to try my 100% to not just keep getting glamorous roles and try and bag roles that are maybe going to be different from the routine thing.
True, true. No, we obviously wish for that. And coming to Leila, because I find that film very fascinating once again, because it tried to veer into a space which not many people like today.
Correct.
There was a time that such kind of a space was immensely loved. It was funny, it's slapstick, it's probably crossing lines in a way that maybe isn't accepted today, and that is probably the reason that the film didn't do so well.
Correct.
Despite when it comes to critics and commercial both, what do you believe was a learning from that film?
Honestly, when you start out as an actor, specifically for me, I didn't have the benefit of choosing my films or choosing the scripts that I could do. It was more about whatever I was getting finalized in. You know, that was the big thing for me, because I had been auditioning for so many South films, and then this finally happened. So I could not, and it was such a huge production house. So I went forward for it. Now my beliefs were very different, and each day on set, while I was filming, to be honest, I was contemplating and I was asking those questions. You know, whether this is something that um, um, that I should be doing. But having said that, while we were shooting, it didn't come out to be how it was portrayed later in the film. My character was actually very different. I was playing a very tomboyish.
Correct.
But after the edit, I think it was edited in a way that it turned out to be something different. And I guess that could be a reason of the film not working. And people are smart.
Of course.
These days.
People, very smart.
People are very smart. You cannot fool the audience anymore. True. And there's been a lot of learning from that film, and I hope that moving forward, now that I'm starting to get films to choose from, I hope that I'm able to keep in mind whatever's. I hope I'm able to foresee what the film is going to be perceived as.
Right.
Yeah.
Get that vision also.
Correct.
Because script is one thing, but also having that overall vision
Correct.
is something else. True.
Right.
Agreed. Fantastic. And now coming back to Kesari Veer a bit, because I think here also there are learnings. Apart from the obvious learnings that you did with archery and all those lovely things, there are learnings you see. Because as I mentioned, the funny thing is that आजकल कुछ भी predictable नहीं है.
Yeah.
Nobody can genuinely predict anything. What's gonna work, what's not gonna work. Literally, no one has a single iota of idea, right?
Correct.
In a scenario like this, with so much uncertainty, now you have a film which I mentioned has the right and wrong reasons for the noise that surrounds it. Right now, it's obviously not doing well at the box office, but there are factors. There are factors that stand out in one way or another. Is it for you? Is it just about the positivity? Because sometimes वो जो एक होता है कि चलो, of course you want to be positive, but sometimes you lose your sense of perspective as well. Because you want to be real as well. कि भाई no, I have to know what is wrong, what went wrong. So in this case also, what are the factors that you were just a lot of engulfed, and I'm like, I have to work on these things.
Okay, lots to talk about. First of all, I'd say that, in all honesty, we were not given a fair chance. We were not given theaters, and whatever we didn't get the prime time shows. So even if you see from day one of release to the weekend, we had like 3 to 4
No,
shows
you're
in
right.
Delhi,
Yeah.
and my all my friends wanted to go and watch it, but there were no theaters. There was, and then when you see headlines like it's not making money, but then how can it make money when there are no
Because there are no
theaters,
shows,
there are
yeah.
no shows at all? Having said that, I am very much aware of the things that went wrong,
Yeah.
and then and also aware of the things that went right in the film. So yeah, we were not given, but there have been a lot of learnings for me in this film, because you see, first time you get to portray a role which meant so much courage,
Correct.
bravery, sacrifice, love. Like, she was a loyal my character
Yes, of course.
was
Yeah,
a lover. She sacrificed so much, and for me to be able to bring those emotions to light, I think that in itself was uh, a very cathartic moment for me,
Right.
because I was in a way getting closer to myself, and I learned a lot from this character, and yeah, a lot of learnings for me, and I'm really happy with my particular
Your
character.
personal journey through
Yeah,
for
my
the film.
personal journey through the film.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I think that's probably the most important thing. Whatever, as I mentioned, the fate can be whatever it is, but I think what you derive out of a film is perhaps the most important thing as opposed to everything
Right.
else, right? Lovely, fantastic. And on a parting note with a question and answer round in this case is that now you, as I mentioned, you have some really, really fun things lined up in your film career, and I'm sure other things as well. But because you're starting out, because you have so many things in your mind, right? Because hum sab filmon pe hi bade hue hain. We all have
Right.
aspirations in one way or another. You want to see yourself in a certain way. There are some things that connect more than everything. What are the kind of aspirational roles? I don't believe कि मुझे यही करना है. I want to ape something. But what are the kind of aspirational roles that you have that, okay, some things this will turn out?
I wanted to play a warrior princess for so long, and I got to do that in my first film. If you say inspirational, Kalpana Chawla ma'am's story.
Lovely.
It stuck to my heart because she's from Haryana. I'm from Haryana,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
there are a lot of similarities. As in, her father was very strict when she started out, and then he completely supported her.
Yeah.
And similarly, my father was very
How sweet.
conservative, and now he's so proud
Yeah.
of me that whenever we go out, we went to a bank recently, and he
Right.
started showing my songs to the bank.
How
So I
nice.
was like,
How
"What?"
sweet is that? I know it's embarrassing, but still sweet.
But still very sweet. So I I really look up to her, and I
Yeah.
wish that I get to play, if at all. I would love to play Kalpana ma'am's character, and other than that, anything that challenges me, and anything that makes me think and
Yeah.
feel, a different life, a different story. So yeah, I think anything like that.
Fantastic. And in this realm, that what are the kind of actors that have inspired you the most? Because from what I know, you also like, I think Ram Leela has been very pivotal for you to be even considering acting or coming into this. So on those lines, what have been the kind of roles, or what have not roles again? Sorry, the actors. The actors have really inspired you in a way that you don't want to follow their trajectory. You just want to follow that work ethic more so.
I think Ranveer Singh has been one of those. I think the way he catches the dialects, and
Oh, yeah.
like, every role is so different. I and Deepika, obviously,
Yeah.
as I'm just
The Ram Leela duo is fantastic.
fantastic. I mean, I really look up to Alia
Of
a
course,
lot,
of course.
and yeah, these are some of the actors that I.
Fabulous, yeah. And I think you, because you rightfully mentioned, Ranveer Singh, like, I remember this very well, that Band Baja Bharat happened in his debut film. Nobody even believed that he's a Bombay boy.
Yeah.
Because his Delhi accent was so bang
so
on.
bang on.
Like, people
Correct.
actually believe कि ये दिल्ली से ही आया है. Nobody was saying कि Bandra का पला बड़ा है. So
Yeah,
I
and
get
when the Marathi one, that
Oh, Bajirao Mastani.
Bajirao Mastani, oh my god.
Boy, no, he just has this
Yeah,
chameleon like
yeah,
ability.
yeah.
So I agree very well with that. So all the best for everything. Kesari Veer will definitely find new life later on platforms as well. So I believe that is also up for grabs, and you are on the rise. So thank you so much for this lovely conversation, and all the best for everything.
Thank you so much. It was actually quite refreshing because you didn't ask the regular routine questions,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to be having this conversation with you. I think it was quite fun.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.